Hey guys. Okay, so over the last week or two, we've had a crazy number of inquiries about one specific thing. So there's been a bucket load of homeowners and also building design professionals that have been coming to us on behalf of homeowners who have roughly 600 square metre lots in the low density residential zone. And they want to do two things. They either want to do a dual occupancy, so two dwellings on one lot, or they want to do a subdivision, which basically creates 300 square metre-ish allotments. Now, there is three key things that you need to know when it comes to these sort of properties. First and foremost, back in roughly 2018, 2019, Council amended the planning scheme in direct response to public feedback, very, very strong public feedback, to make it super duper, I'm talking duper 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 duper, basically impossible for people to do dual occupancies on 600 square metre lots in the low density residential zone. I'm not going to sit here and say it could never, ever happen, because I'm sure there's some sort of situational scenario out there where it may happen in the future. But let's just say, for argument's sake, 99.99999% sure that you will not get approval to do a dual occupancy on a low density residential zones property that is roughly 600 square metres. So just rule that one out, guys. Now, when it comes to subdivisions, you essentially need a minimum of 400 square metres for a front lot and 600 square metres for a rear lot, unless you are positioned within 200 metres walk of a centre, which is like a medium or a large scale centre, aka over 2,000 square metres. Now, there are some quirks to that 200 metre rule. I won't bother going into those today. But long story short, if you're more than 200 metres, then again, almost impossible to get council's approval to go below that 400 square metre requirement. Now, I'd say almost in this instance, because there is certain circumstances where council will actually support it. So generally speaking, you need to show that the predominant existing pattern in the area is sub 400 square metre lots. So when I say predominant, ideal world, it would be at least 50% of the surrounding properties are already below that 400 square metres, close to the 300 square metre mark, and then you would have a decent chance of actually going down that path. So we had a job, I think it was earlier this year. It was like Mount Gravatt, that type area, and we could basically show that the entire development to the north, so there was a massive 3,000 square metre property to the north, had been developed for townhouses way back in the day when those things were supported in that zone. So drawing on those and a few other examples in the area, we could argue that this 300 square metre lot, I think it was in keeping with the surrounding context. Then building on that, council was like, okay, and now we need to make sure there's no major community backlash. So we had to go through the advertising process, cross our fingers and toes, and hope that the community didn't get up in arms over this development. Thankfully, they didn't. So in that situation, we got it approved. So yeah, when it comes to lots under 400 square metres, very, very hard, but you can get them through in some circumstances. So if you can't do dual occupancies, and if you almost always can't do the subdivisions to create those 300 square metre lots, what are your options? Well, there is still a good option out there. I keep saying to people, with all the recent changes that have occurred in the granny flat space, aka the secondary dwelling space, it's definitely a great option to start to look at as an alternative. So these days you can rent the granny flats out independently of the primary dwelling. You can get 80 square metres of internal floor area, so you can still do verandas on top of that, and it excludes garages. So that typically gives you a 2-bedroom house. And the bonus is you don't need to worry about those 30-odd K infrastructure charges. You don't need to worry about the extra open space requirements. Generally speaking, you get more site cover. You don't need to worry about fire rating requirements when it comes to between the two structures when you get to certification stage. There is so many pluses to going down the path of a secondary dwelling as opposed to a dual occupancy or a 300 square metre standalone lot when it comes to these properties. So yeah, just wanted to share that information with you today because, like I said, I have received so many inquiries. I think in the last 24 hours, I've had 2 or 3 of these come across my desk, and I'm like, what is going on out there? Everyone has suddenly decided in low density residential zone land, this is what they're going to do. Anyway, I think that covers off everything I want to talk about today. As I always like to say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got 3. Number 1, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly billy. Number 2, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number 3, what was my number 3? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all.